Hey there, MTackers. Just thought I would take a quick second to show you a video on how to scan down sites and how to record them properly in bookmarks if you are not going to run them yourself or if you happen to find a wormhole. Now I already know that this particular site is, or signature, pardon me, is a wormhole in TTAC9. So let's go ahead, launch probes. We're going to open our window. And we can have our window set to either be full screen, dock to the left, dock to the right, or floating. I prefer to have it floating. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. Okay. When you are scanning sites, you want to use pinpoint, and I prefer to start at 8 AU. Some of you can start at 4 AU, but I just prefer to start at 8 AU. The other thing that I do is signatures are going to they're going to begin or spawn, pardon me, around anomalies or around celestials, pardon me. So I'm moving my scanning center, the scan probe center, over top of the closest group of anomalies. I'm going to go ahead and analyze. And you can left click these buttons to analyze. If you don't want to do that, there are hotkeys that you can set up. They'll be in the window, the escape menu, and you can find them there. Okay, now that we've got the first scan at 8 AU done, we can center or begin to center over top of our actual signature ID here. The quick way to do this is to left click in space, left double click. We'll set the orientation either vertical or horizontal. As you can see that, I'll go ahead and reduce this. Again, there is a hotkey that you can set up to do that if you don't like using your mouse over here. Go ahead and analyze. You don't need to be perfect for most sites with regards to centering your center, the probe scanner over top of that. There are going to be some sites that might need to be precise, like the sleeper sites that are a little harder to scan down. Mazes, for instance, as combat sites. So we're pretty close now. You'll see the signal here is above 50%, so I will move that one more time. Just left click and drag over it. Now, if I wasn't at 50%, I would only move this down one size. I'm going to move it down twice because 50%, that's typically going to give me one more scan, and I'll have that set and ready. So while we're waiting for this, just to let you know, we have changed the way we are bookmarking things. That's part of the reason for this video, is to give everybody a visual to go along with the email that I did send out last week with the changes. Alright, so we've got the wormhole scanned. Go ahead and close your window, recall your probes. We're going to warp to within 10. Once we clear the station, let's go ahead and cloak up, just in case somebody happens to pop out the other side of the wormhole. Now, we're going to do the rest of this stuff from our overview. We're not going to save the location off the probe scanner, because what that will do is save it to this signature mark here. When we save from the overview, it will save the actual bookmark here, or the actual site. So, first thing, we will show info on the wormhole, and then we'll bring up our save location. The reason we show info is to get the information for the wormhole. There's a couple of websites that will tell you what this N432 stands for, a second website that will identify the wormhole, the J-space wormhole, once you jump in. And I've already been inside this wormhole. I know that the signature on the inside is J125254, but that will come in just a second. So we see that, yeah, it's not end of life. It's only beginning to decay. It hasn't had its stability reduced, and it's a very large wormhole. When we're recording the wormholes, we will use S for small ships, M for medium ships, L for large ships, X for extra large ships. When it's a wormhole that leads away from friendly space, you start the signature, or the bookmark, pardon me, with an asterisk. Because this leads to J space, we are going to go WH for wormhole. If this was leading to high-sec, low-sec, null-sec, or Thera, we would use HS for high-sec, LS for low-sec. We would use NS for null-sec, or TH for TheraSpace. That's only if this hole jumps directly into that. If it's jumping into JSpace like it is, we go WH. Now, it's a square bracket, and YEF is the signature. Again, we want the signature ID in all of the bookmarks that we have for scannable sites. That way anybody coming into the system or anybody looking to clean up the bookmarks knows whether a site has already been scanned down or not. If you just put Wormhole high-sec, then when we get into a system, we don't know if that's still there if we haven't put the letters of the signature ID in there. So please do this. If we hadn't already jumped into this, and you'll see that I've got both the two different bookmarks saved with this particular ID. If we hadn't already jumped into this, the next thing we would do is we would put 3 question marks. And the reason we put 3 question marks is because we don't know what's on the other end of it. And we would go with the X, capital X, to indicate that it is a large, an extra large wormhole. Because I've already been in there, I know that this is J125254. I also know that through the N432 that this is a C5 with a static C3 wormhole in there. If we found a wormhole inside this C5 that led to high-sec or low-sec or null-sec or a TheraSpace, then we would put C5 with high-sec or low-sec or null-sec or Thera, and then we would put the ID, the letter ID in there, so that we know which one of those IDs were, or which one of those signature IDs was responsible for that particular hole. But we already know that this is a C5 with a C3. I haven't done any extra exploration in there. So we would submit that. I've already got it saved. You can see this is what we have right here. Now, when we jump into that hole, we are going to bookmark this immediately from the other side. And that bookmark would be displayed like this. So it would be a period to start with, because it's leading back to friendly space. It would be NS for leading into nullsec space, which is obviously where we live. We don't have the signature ID, so it would be 3 question marks inside of square closed brackets, and then the destination would be TTAC945F, and it's obviously an extra large hole. The reason for the asterisks and the period to start the bookmark is to keep everything separated. You'll see we've got a couple of bookmarks that haven't followed the naming convention. Obviously, this says exit to R8S, nothing else. So we don't know where it's going. This is no disrespect to anybody that put this in here. Again, part of the reason for this video is for this very reason. If we wanted, we could edit this, and we could put that period, and you'll see, once we submit it, now that, well, of course it didn't. Edit location, period, space, and now you can see that it is saved up top here, just like so. Okay, so we can see how that now it's a little easier to find for people, because we know that if it's at the bottom of the list and it's got a period, it is a wormhole leading back to us, back to safety. If it's at the top of the list with an asterisk, then it is leading away from us. Okay. We don't want these wormholes saved in the scanned sites. The scanned sites are simply for combat, data, or relic sites. If we were to do that, you can see here, and I'll just edit this location. Combat site is a round open bracket, C, capital C, round closed bracket, then the ID inside of square brackets, and then the name of the site. If this was a data site, we would go ahead and it would be a D, a capital D for data, or a capital R for relic. Okay, that's pretty much that. If you have any questions, again, as I mentioned, we have sent out an email on this. If you're an explorer, we're asking that you do follow this new convention. Yes, it might take a little while to get used to, but once you're used to it, once everybody is doing the same thing, then it'll be much simpler for all parties involved. It'll be easier for people to be able to delete them. It'll be easier for people to find them once they get into a system, and it just be a little more readily identifiable as to which direction the wormholes are going or what sites we have in terms of combat, relic, and data sites. If you have any problems, if you have any questions, feel free to message me in game, talk to me on TeamSpeak, or send me a message on Discord. I'd be more than happy to help out, and I do appreciate everybody's cooperation in this. Alright, MTACers, fly safe.